This seems like a pretty oddly specific idea for a video, but once you look at the date this was posted, it'll all make sense. Green is a color that can mean very different or even very opposite things. It can be for envy, it can be for luck, you turn green in the face when you get sick, yet it can also represent good health, like healing items or health meters in video games. It can even just symbolize nature. Plus, I'm sure we're all very well aware of that myth about green M&Ms. Whatever the color means though, we do know that a lot of the characters that show it are awesome. Whether they have green hair, wear the color green, or are just green themselves, they deserve some appreciation, so we're just gonna admire a small handful of them today. And this is a list, not a countdown, so these are in no particular order. Just 7 random green characters that we're gonna spotlight. It helps to keep things less predictable and allows us to do this topic again next year with completely different results. With that said, let's take a look at 7 cool green characters. Butch Hartman's cartoons haven't really been hitting it out of the park lately. Tough Puppy was just okay, I'm pretty sure 99% of the population doesn't even know that Bunsen is a beast was a thing. And The Fairly Odd Parents is currently an absolute mess. But that doesn't change the fact that in the past, this show used to be golden. And while he can't take all of the credit for that, one particular character was a big factor. Cosmo. Before he became more idiotic, super duper high pitched, and screamed every line he delivered, Cosmo used to actually be a funny character. Instead of just being stupid, he was more naive and clueless. He genuinely loved Wanda and cared for Timmy and wanted to make them happy no matter what, even if he went about it by saying and doing the most absurd things. He's a good dad, a good husband, and whenever I would watch the show, he would always get the biggest laughs out of me aside from Timmy's father. Pretty much anyone else you can find who grew up watching this show will tell you that Cosmo made it for them too. All of these reasons make it pretty clear why Cosmo from The Fairly Odd Parents poofed into the first spot on this list.
Now, here's Cosmo with the weather. I thought you said feather.
Taxi! It's because I'm green, isn't it?
There are 2 animals you can't possibly forget talking about when bringing up the color green. We'll get to the second one later, but the first one is a crocodile. Arguably the most popular one of them being the one and only King K Rool. Whether it be his golden voice in the Donkey Kong Country animated series, or his presence in the video games, King K Rool always sticks out and manages to hang around in our minds, especially when you consider his earth-shattering reveal for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Whether it be his powerful crown, his musket, his counter, his burying moves, or his devastating back air, King K Rool always manages to bring out the anger in other people. He's one of the ultimate antagonizers in the game and couldn't have possibly been implemented any better. Plus, we can't forget about his iconic and legendary status. It's very rare these days when you can remember a video game villain as fondly as someone like Bowser or Dr. Eggman. And perhaps all this new attention will spark some interest in Nintendo to start implementing him in canon games again. King K Rool from the Donkey Kong Country series drops anchor at the second spot on this list.
Looky here, look what I got! Don't think I won't let little Diddy drop. Taxi! It's because I'm green, isn't it?
Like I said in my previous video, VeggieTales is a great Christian cartoon that succeeds where others fail. It manages to convey and share God's messages in a format and style that's able to entertain people regardless of what they believe. And it's all thanks to their cast of colorful characters like Bob the Tomato, Mr. Lunt, and actually quite a few green characters. But the one we're going to be focusing on today is, of course, Larry the Cucumber. I mean, main character spotlight aside, he does have a lot of qualities that make him worth showcasing. Whether it be his amazing and iconic vocal performance by Mike Nawrocki, the entertaining and often extremely catchy silly songs he does in between shows, or his ability to fit just about any character for any story VeggieTales decides to tell, Larry never ceases to leave an audience member with a big grin on their face. Especially when he transforms into his secret superhero self, Larry Boy. The fact that these vegetables were able to reach the status that they did is super impressive, and I guess we have Larry to thank for that. And oh, I can't think of a pun for this one, so Larry the Cucumber from VeggieTales, pickles the third spot on this list, I guess?
Chocolate saved is chocolate earned.
That's pennies.
No, this box cost me $10.
It's because I'm green, isn't it?
Fiction has a lot of aliens. A lot of aliens. You have the super clueless and confused aliens who don't know what anything is. You have the aliens that look like us, who eventually become superheroes. And then you have those that do nothing but scream and crave the destruction of our planet. And the best of those is Invader Zim. He was so good at his job, in fact, that he even made it possible to invade his own planet. But his leaders did not recognize or appreciate his talents, so they banished him. So with nothing but a spaceship and a defect robot, who also wears a coat of green sometimes, Zim headed off to Earth to prove his loyalty and skills to his leaders. But with a paranormal investigating kid by the name of Dib foiling every single one of his plans, Zim ends up finding himself in some pretty hilarious situations. Although his character may have been done well enough to spawn some imitations, no space, alien rocks, or other things are going to be taking his place anytime soon. Zim invades the 4th spot on the list.
It's got chicken legs.
Yes, chicken legs.
It's because I'm green, isn't it?
There are several Bruce Lee-inspired characters in fiction. You have Hitmonlee from Pokemon, Martial Law from the Tekken series, and of course in anime we have characters like Rock Lee. The Naruto series is full of ninjas who use an energy force called chakra to perform several amazing abilities, using fire, transformations, summoning, which makes it all the more impressive that Rock Lee has been able to accomplish all the feats he's done with just hand-to-hand combat. You see, Rock Lee is only skilled in taijutsu, which is physical stuff. He doesn't know how to do genjutsu, which is the mental illusion type stuff, or ninjutsu, which is all the cooler stuff, but Rock Lee doesn't let this handicap get in his way. He's always determined, optimistic, tenacious, and loyal to his mentor, Might Guy. He's one of the hardest working ninja out there and always does his best to protect everyone, even Sakura, because we all know the fanbase won't. Not to mention his battle against Gaara of the Sand is one of the greatest fights in anime history. There's so many more positives I could talk about with this guy and not a single negative to be found, so I hope it's pretty clear why Rock Lee kicks into the 5th spot on this list.
Sasuke could never lose to a guy like this!
It's because I'm green, isn't it?
Okay, look, I know we're all super hyped for Crash Team Racing right now, thanks to the remaster Nitro Fueled. And believe me, I am hyped too, beyond belief actually. But that doesn't mean it's okay to forget Crash's other fantastic racing games, namely Crash Nitro Kart. It had a bigger roster of characters, tracks, and a more interesting story. And behind it all was the great and intimidating VLow. Now, when I say he gave the game a better story, that's not exactly saying much because the previous game's antagonist, Nitrous Oxide, merely wanted to turn the Earth into a parking planet. VLow, however, holds the Earth hostage so our heroes and villains will race for the amusement of his subjects. Not exactly a groundbreaking concept, but his big, booming voice and personality interacting with our favorite Crash characters and the bosses, which happen to be some of the most interesting non-Naughty Dog Crash characters out there, never ceases to be entertaining. He's not all talk either, he actually does manage to give you a pretty good challenge as a racing game boss. Combine all that with a hilarious twist at the end involving him that I dare not spoil even though the game is over a decade old, and there's plenty of reasons why VLow races into the 6th spot on this list.
Because I'm green, isn't it?
Remember back with K Rool how I said you can't think of the color green without thinking of two animals, the first one being a crocodile? Well, the second one is a frog. And not just any frog. Last but not least, it's Kermit the Frog. This character in particular is so synonymous with the color green that he even had to write a song about how hard it is to be that color. Whether it be his iconic relationship with Miss Piggy, his iconic companionship with Fozzie Bear, or his camaraderie with the audience he's entertaining. Kermit isn't just one of the greatest green characters of all time, he's one of the most memorable and beloved characters in all of fiction. He's managed to last multiple decades with several movies and TV shows, Disney found him worth buying, and both The Muppets and Sesame Street wouldn't be the same without him. Look, I know I said I wouldn't have this list be ordered from worst to best or best to worst, but I just couldn't help saving possibly the best for last. When coming up with the idea for this St. Patrick's Day video, I could have easily gone the easy route and included a leprechaun character or some other green Irish character. But nope, Kermit came first to mind, and I'm sure he came first to yours too when you read the title. He hops into the 7th spot on this list, and these were 7 cool green characters in fiction. Leopold the Brave out.